We are live, apparently. How are we all doing out there? Hope you're all keeping well. Let's see if anyone else pops in. White Sapphire's here and ready for action. We are a bit early. I said 8:15, but I'm here. I'm ready for action. Ready to go. Richard 100 is here as well. Hello, Richard. How are you? As you can see, we have the big Grundig on the bench. So we're giving it a run. It has not been scrapped. We have decided to save it for now. And it seems to be working quite well too. I imagine it's a low hour set. We've Jerry here as well. Hello, Jerry. White Sapphire's going to feed the cats very good. Patrick Bourne is in the chat too. Good evening, Patrick. Far 64 is here. Radio Restorations by Colin. So we have a few in. We're doing good. We're doing well. Super stuff. Hope I'm missing the thunderstorms. Yes, no, we have missed the thunderstorms. No thunderstorms around here. Not even too much rain. A little bit of rain hanging around. Around 3-4 o'clock, the rain for about an hour, but nothing too drastic. All is well. 8 watching with 3 thumbs up. Very good. 9 watching, few more tuning in there. Super, super. Obviously, as I always say, chat participation is encouraged. So we've a few we've something to talk at, because otherwise it sounds like I'm talking to myself. We have Roundy Mooney in the chat. It's a pleasure to have you back, Mr. Mooney. Good to see you in the chat. Swan John is in the chat too. Good evening, Swan John. As you can see, the ye old Grundig is in operation tonight. And, seems to be working well, if flickering with the lights a bit. It's probably picking up. It's flickering because it's saying itself the feedback. Flickering still there. There's probably not much we're going to be able to do about that. Well, let them flicker away. Anyway, as you can see, it's working quite well. So, who have we got here? A few more in. We have real world events. Yeah, I've been having a few of them myself lately. Evening all, back shortly. Smash that like. Come on, Roundy. Good man, Roundy. Roundy, in appreciation of your good self, the people of Cork, I'm drinking cans of Beamish tonight. Lovely. Yeah, the old Beamish isn't bad looking at all, is it? Ah. So what has everyone been up to? I collected a couple more televisions lately, which I didn't need. Couple of interesting ones, which we'll see. One's a GEC, which I only bought for its line output transformer for another very interesting set that I have. However, it came from the same household this one came from, and there's also in far better nick than I thought it would have been. So I think we're going to have to save him too. And I also got a Morphic Acoustic Deluxe 19-inch 1967 vintage, which we're going to be looking at too at some stage. In a very rough cabinet, unfortunately. So, what else is going on out there? Who else have we got here? Is anyone out there who has not introduced themselves? Please do make yourself known now. I should also press this button up here. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 10 people watching. Michael White is in the chat. Good evening, Michael. What have you been up to this weather? Swan John wants to know, is there much going on in 11 metre band? There is a little bit going on around Dublin, and yeah, I think there's Facebook pages. If you're on Facebook, Swan John, or have access to someone who has Facebook, you could look up. I think there's a couple of Irish CB Facebook pages, which will put you right on frequencies and what have you. But yeah, there's a few around. Still. Brian Allman is here. Good evening, Brian. Super stuff. Grundig is working. Grundig is working very well. Nice television there, Grundig. Yeah, it is. It's obviously doesn't look too great on this camera, but it's not bad at all. Do I ever look at old camcorders? No, they're not really something I ever got involved with. Camcorders, funny enough. They're not my cup of tea. I never got involved with them. And we never took them in the shop either. Not something we ever got involved with, one shape or other. I've had the odd one in through here that found in a bin or whatever. No, they're not something I ever got involved with in any great shape or form. I wonder will Mr. Dranfield pop in tonight? The remote didn't come with it. I had that. I actually have a couple of Grundig remotes here, funny enough. Seems to do most of the functions on it. That one was for use with the Megatron. And I also have another Grundig in the shed, a very low hours one, which I featured here at one stage on the channel. Real nice Grundig. Early 80s job. With the 30AX tube in it. A couple of people commented in the video that this is a 30AX tube in it. It's not, it's the 45AX. It's super square. I think they called it an FST, although it's not a true FST. Well, like the later ones that came out were. It's interesting looking at some of the later television magazines. This one's from '98, and it's amazing how trade went downhill so quick. I was actually contacted by an Irish TV collector recently who had a large collection of TV magazines to dispose of, which someone else had passed to him. And funny enough, going through the boxes, now they're all later ones, so most of them run through the 70s or that. A few 70s, they're all boxed, but there's later ones from the 90s, which have never been taken out of the wrapper. They were on postal order and they're still in the wrapper. Incredible. You'd wonder if someone ordering the magazine and never even opening it. But they're brand new in the wrapper, which is nice. Mr. Dranfield would be very excited. I might post him one, not say anything. Let it land in the door in the wrapper. Drunken Monkey. Nice looking set. She sure is a nice looking set. I was just saying, I bought a television last week and I was asked to dispose of this when I was collecting the other one. But when I got it home and had a look at it, I realised it's quite a low hour set and cosmetically very good. There was an Irish factory. There was a Grundig factory in Ireland, and apparently the ones with the shamrock were made in Ireland. Michael White asks, is it a 28 or 29? As I saw, it was an M70 model. He also did a 33 that was a monster and heavy. I had the 33. That was the Megatron. No, sorry. 36. The Megatron was a 36-inch. I don't know, because the tube starts with the A66. So I would have said it was a 26-inch. I suppose the only way to do it now was to get measuring tape to it. Well, it does look a bit bigger than a 26, doesn't it? Yeah, the Megatron was a big machine, alright. 36-inch. It was twice the size of that. It's actually not that heavy, believe it or not. It's not as heavy as you'd think it would be. I had no problem carrying it in here, funny enough. I have a Sony 1320, which I have to bring out later on. And I think it's heavier. So, yeah, it's not as heavy as you'd think. Yeah, it could be a 29-inch, alright. I don't have a measuring tape to hand here to measure it, but I don't think it's 26. But it's also interesting that it has A66 as the first digits, which is usually the first two digits are the size in centimeters. Richard says he thinks it was him that said it was a 30AX. Yeah, no, it's later than the 30. It's a 45AX. Super square FST. really good tubes. I knew someone that had a Solara with one of those tubes, and they had it for years, like up until a lot later than they had any business having it. Andy Doswell is in the chat. Good evening, Andy. Underscored is here as well. The Pallier Stalker isn't here though. Not yet. So you're alright, you're not too late. Who else have we got? We got what have we got here? I'm getting a bit squinty. I'll have to make that right and bigger. They were confusing the model numbers even though they sold them new in the 80s. Oh, right, yeah, I get you, Michael. Yeah, that's fair enough. White Sapphire says, deep in the bowels of my vintage hospitality trailer, I have a monster of a Sony from the early 90s, somewhere about 30-inch, I think. ProLogic sound and all. Oh, yeah. We saw quite a few of them Sony second hand. Big Sonys, 33-inch squares, 29-inch, and I think there was a 33 as well. And they were beautiful televisions. Really nice. Yeah. The only problem is now is space. I wouldn't mind having one. They were crackers. I remember there was two in particular we had at the shop, and they were those deadly. There was when Freeview was starting up in the north, they were there broadcasting Test Card F, and they used to show it on the two of these that were for sale, and it was just so sharp. It was excellent on them. They were cracking sets. We no problem moving them either, even though they were probably 12 or 13 year old at that stage. We used to sell them in a Freeview box, and they moved. Where a lot of other stuff wouldn't, but the picture was undeniable on them. Really was. And he also says the old grunt pigs were superb, rare down here as we had no dealer. Yeah, the old grunties were good alright. And they held on to the tripler a lot longer than anyone else, which was interesting as well. The Chipmunk is here. Good evening, Chipmunk. Hope you're keeping well too. We're having a relaxed kind of an evening here, by the way. No madness here tonight. Just nice and relaxed. Which is what we like. Good to see Kev B in the chat too. Good evening, Kev. I was using your little voltage reference there the other day. One of the handiest things I have as a go-to for my meters. I'll never be able to thank you enough for that, Kev. I think about you every time I say it. Fair play to you. 10 out of 10. The only thing I keep doing though is I keep knocking the switch on and not noticing. Batteries are hanging in there anyway. Yeah. Cracking bit of gear that. Thanks very much, Kevin. You know, wonderful job rebuilding that. I'm ashamed at the state when I gave it to you. The Chipmunk has a nice cold beer and chicken thingies from Tesco. Sounds good. McEwan's Champion. I don't know what that is for. What is that? Sounds like some sort of an alcoholic beverage. I wonder if I turn down the brightness on the television. My chair is about to fall apart as well, which doesn't help. Let's see how the remote works. No, that doesn't help at all. It just makes me invisible. Anyway, not to worry. It's a bear. Oh, we have a new man in the chat. Retro Hammer. I think that's a new man. Hello there, sir. Subbed a few weeks back to steal a little knowledge to do basic repairs. Oh, thank you very much. You won't learn much about repairing nothing here. There's people like Michael Dranfield who know all about fixing tellies. But thanks very much. It's nice to have you aboard. I shall have to investigate this bear you speak of, Far 64. Chipmunk says, like chicken nuggets, but without as much real cartilage. It's all edible. It's all edible. Try a different camera angle. I was fluking around with it, but I thought it was the light that it was picking up. I turned this off and it still flickered. And then I turned the camera away from the television and he's still kind of flickering and it's just not happy. It's not happy. But not to worry. And that this remote control doesn't seem to really talk to the television. Oh, it does, yeah. Oh, there we go. It's, actually, that's not. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm looking at the screen. See, it's not flickering here. It's flickering there. So obviously, the frame rates are interacting. But funny enough, the old Pi the other night didn't do that. Not to worry. Anyway, doesn't really matter a whole lot. Let's get back to reality. Never tried any McEwans myself. I tend to swing between carling in hot weather and real ales in cooler weather. Picked up full Technic separates yesterday, cheap. Up to now, CD player needs a loading belt and cassette deck needs help. Kevin B loves to give himself challenges. Excuse me. And the Carol's here. Enda's on the road, but we'll catch you later, Enda. Thanks for the calling in. Yeah, it's a Peter's now remote with it. That one actually, I think that one does work most of the functions. So I'll have to have a squint. I have a couple of Grundig remotes. Well, give me an idea then, lads. How much do you think it's worth? Retro Hammer says he's got 6 CRT TVs at the moment, all working great, but do have a CRT monitor that has a vertical collapse issue. Just need to get it over to England from Northern Ireland. Enjoy the Beamish. Canny drinkers down here prefer it to the Murphys. Not because it's cheaper. Overbuilt Automotive is tuning in all the way from Tennessee. Good evening, sir. Has it got SCART? It has SCART. It has. It's basic. It does has one SCART. Retro Hammer says he's trying to get as many CRTs before the missus bans them. Dear oh dear. Retro Gaming. 50 to 100 quid for the gamer. That's alright, Roundy. We'll forgive you. Plant stands, coffee tables. Yeah. Does anyone find the flickering on this television objectionable? If so, I can switch it off. Oh no, €9,000 in a few minutes. Oh dear. Roundy Mounty, I hope it's something nice though. It's not the lighting, we've looked into that. I think it's the frame rate of the camera. College phase. Dear oh dear. Ah well. They'll pay you back, I'm sure. Oh dear. Poor Roundy Mounty. I think we'll all have a moment there for Roundy Mounty. And what's even making tonight worse for Roundy Mounty, and there's only 10 thumbs up with 24 viewers. That's not going to help his situation either. Not a hope to say. Think about it. In 40 years, when you're there, bollocks, and she's wiping her arse for you, it'll be all worthwhile. Jim Simpson's here. Good evening, sir. That's Jim Simpson from Scotland, I take it. Am I right? Oh, you know, you get a ball of money. I get no ball of money, Mr. Mooney. Not only that, it appears to me that the money that they used to, the money that they pay me has gone down quite a bit. All of €0.000001. Far64 says no one looks at these videos. I think everyone's got to subscribe to Far64. Only fair, I think. The stream is 30 frames per second, hence the flicker. Funny enough, though, the Pi didn't do that last week, and it was also running on 625 lines. But yes, that wouldn't help, and that is no doubt the reason. Not to worry. Could be worse. The old Pi probably had a longer persistence in the phosphor as well, which helped. A few hundred likes! Oh God. Fair play to you, Chipmunk. Thank you. That's a can of Morphe. That's a can of Beamish Little. We'll go for that. YouTube, I feel, is losing money hand over fist. Lots of YouTubers will find out the hard way. I think so. I think YouTube is in trouble, and I don't know if anyone follows developments in YouTube. What you call him, the Australian chap there, EEV Bog. What's his name is? I'm sure someone's going to put it in quick. It's not Carl. What? Terrible when your mind goes blank. Anyway, EEV blog, Dave Jones. Thanks, Kev. Jesus, the head goes blank. It's terrible, isn't it? Dave Jones was discussing about the new thing which is coming in, and I got a notification about it too, is that ads. So I run ads on my videos, as I'm sure some of you know, which brings in a very, very small, minute income to the channel, which is at the moment, notwithstanding 2 donations which I got to a live stream 2 weeks ago, which has skewed the figure slightly. At the moment, it's about between 12 and 15 euro a month. Whereas at one time, it had been up around 30 to 40 euro a month, which was nice because you could buy a few capacitors or kind of spray or whatever. But you had control over what ads you wanted to run, or, you know, skippable ads or non-skippable ads or whatever. So they've decided in their latest move is that you're not going to have any control, that the ads will just be on on your videos, whether you like it or not. And if you choose not to monetize a video, they will still run ads on your video, and they will take all the money from advertisers. So that's not great. I get a feeling. Oh, thank you, Daz. Thanks very much. That's 3 cans of Beamish I'm going to get next week. Thanks very much, Andy. Gentlemen, I have a feeling that YouTube or Google, should I say, are sweating the acid. The acid. I think that's what's going on with YouTube. I think they're sweating the acid. I think they're trying to wring it out for all it's worth. So you're going to see all these ads and shit rolling on. I think YouTube, there's nothing there, as Dave Jones said in his video, and there's nothing really to replace YouTube yet. I think he said he's uploading videos to Twitter or X or whatever the fuck it's called this week. But over, and see, now what I said there, that's a naughty word. I'm not going to get, ads won't be run on this live stream now afterwards. Or they will, but they'll get the money instead of me. It's nasty. Let me just catch up with a few comments here before I wrap it on any further. Go woke, go broke. Yeah, a lot of that going on. There are a fair few YouTubers going for backup systems. They are. Aren't they taking away when you can place ads and YouTube will choose where they go? Yes. Big impact on the larger channels that, yeah. Are making it difficult to change, yeah. Bit of that too. Don't get me plaster chipmunk. YouTube can hang with their ads. Use Revanced for YouTube and enough of their crap. They're going to get around that though, I think. And I think YouTube, Google there are finding ways of disabling ad blockers from their end. Roundy Mounty. A Tanner will do him with the dodgy stuff he drinks. With tonight being an admirable exception, of course. Yeah. Dennis is in the chat. Good evening, Dennis. Hope you're keeping well. Comes down to YouTube having no competition, sadly, and also companies tightening their belts. Yeah, there's no real. You see, the thing is, with a niche thing like this that I'm trying to share with you at home, look at this television I've got. Look at this rare radio station I'm receiving, or whatever nonsense I'm going on about. There's nowhere else I can really share videos like this. There's no real forum other than, like, BitChute was a thing that was going around, but it's shit. And it's only, I hate using the phrase, but I'm gonna, it's far right nonsense. Which I think is a phrase is used too often, but it's crap. So there isn't really any other platforms other than YouTube at the moment. Maybe something will pop up in a while. If YouTube keeps getting crap, something else might pop up for us techie types. Retro Hammer just gave me a $5. Jesus Christ. Thank you very much, Retro Hammer. Keep it up, says he. I'll try. But I'll have to use something with a vacuum pump on the end of it. For £10, I dance for an hour. Oh, don't do that. Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, fair play, lads. Thanks very much. Those little donations mean a lot, actually. They mean an awful lot. Kev B says, previous electrician had shoved an armoured into an outdoor socket with no gland or grommet. That'd be alright. Pack a bit of grease around it. Now he's at slightly inebriated. Good man, Roundy. Roundy, uh, did you recently buy a Grundig radio off the internet? Stop, Roundy. Now I'm twisted. Oh, Jesus, I'm going to be locked. I'm going to be scuttered. I'm not going to be able to fix that for a week. Oh. You didn't? Right. No, because a friend of mine has Facebook and he's into vintage radios and stuff. And he was giving me a look at it. And I seen you put in a request for a radio. So if you email me your address, I'm going to send you. For all your hard work, I'm going to wrap that up and send it to you. You can have it. If you want it. Send them an Avo meter. Well, funny enough, I have a breeding pair of Avo meters here. Slow down, slow down. Well, if you want it, you can have it. That fucking alarm that goes off at this time every night. Can you hear that? Where is it? Where is it? This nearly caused me to get a divorce because it was in the house doing this. It was stuffed down the sofa or something. We couldn't find it. And it used to go off at fucking 5:30 every morning for months. This is the Rekitis wideband receiver, which I did a video on one time. I wouldn't recommend it. It's okay. It's all right. But yeah. Sorry, let me catch up with the chat. I digress. Dig out a bottle of Bushmills. Oh, Christ. B. Jemison. B. Jemison. Oh, do you know what? Oh, yeah, say that right. Right. JJ, no need, honestly, but I'd be delighted. Well, you can have it if you want it. A breeding pair. Yeah, no, I've got two breeding, but I don't know which is breeding but which. So if I get rid of the wrong one, I won't have enough Avo. Because, so I've two Mark 5s on the bench here, which is no one love. And then this Mark 3 just turned up with P&T on it, which I don't know what's going on, right? Well, someone scraped out the P&T, but it says number 8, P&T meter. I don't know. It's getting fucking ridiculous because I can't even get on the bench now for the Avos. I only need one. Yeah, so I reckon it's those two Mark 5s which are knocking them out. They even gave birth to an Avo meter 10 there, which is really odd. Of a Simpson 260 there as well. I'm hoping they're not going to interbreed with that because they'll probably end up having one of them. What you call it? I don't know. They'll probably end up having a fluke or something. So yeah, it could end in tears. Best castrate the bloody things. Yeah. How do you do that? I think if you fill up the probe holes with silicone, that might stop it. Audio Al is in the chat. Good evening, Audio Al. It's great to have you aboard. We've 30 people watching with 17 likes, so just keep an eye on that. Roundy's going to get upset. Roundy Mooney says, I must get an Avo actually, and a decent valve tester. All in good time. I'll send you down an Avo meter if you want one. No problem at all. I'm sure I can spare just one of them. Jim Simpson says, I had one of those when I was a lad. A great radio. Oh, the Grundy, yeah. Tribbles breeding that what you need. No. And I have one of those alarms somewhere in my workshop. Been going on for years. Then I'll tell you what, Andy, it must have great batteries in it. 12 years. Oh, Christ. Post and Telecom. Close. Post and Telegraph. That's what they were called here in Ireland. The P&T. I found a box of new old stock Avo parts and work. Oh, look at that. That's lovely. Kev B has just won the lotto. That's great. He shall ascend to stardom. Avo minor. An Avo minor. Yeah, could happen. I have an Avo minor. I had two. No, wait, I've got three. No, I've two. I had three, and then I got rid of one at the last NVCF. So now I've two. An Avo minor Mark V, I think, and then a pre-war Avo minor. Brownie Mooney is deeply disappointed, to be honest, with the lack of likes. Retrohammer has retracted his messages due to the I don't know, graphic content there within. I have a nice concrete manhole cover in the garden. Post office telegraphs. They were going to throw it out because it was cracked. I love them. A bit of history. Lovely stuff. I have a railway signal in the garden, which I only got very recently, and it was being thrown out. Now it's cracked, so the bit where the red and green glass goes is missing. It obviously fell over and cracked because it's cast iron. It's gone missing. It must be out with switchyard. It's about that high, really heavy, made by the Liverpool Railway Signal Company or some such. But I'm going to put a bit of cement down the garden, bolt it down, just in case someone pulls it over on top of themselves. Really nice, and I could probably, mate of mine has one of them laser cutter doofers. I could probably cut out a bit of steel and weld it up and fix it if I put a bit of red and green glass into it. But really get excited about. But yeah, it's quite nice. See, Andy Doswell's a busy man on the old YouTube. I know Mr. Doswell is working on something very big for YouTube. Oh, I shouldn't say that. But yes, Andy is the one to watch on YouTube. He's going to do something super duper. The Chipmunk says, oh yeah, ground level signal, yes. Dad used to work for British Rail, and I have an appreciation for signalling and stuff. Ah, look, lovely, lovely. I shall take a picture of it and put it in a community post for you all to see. Right, I'm going to get myself another can. I'm going to leave you for a minute. Don't be bold, and when I come back, we will discuss further. I want to show you something as well. I don't know if there's anyone here that's into aircraft, avionics and radio stuff, but I've something I want to show you, and I hope someone knows if what I have is any use or just scrap it out for parts. Bye. Let me catch up with you. Let's see, where are we? The arcade machine I donated to the museum has developed a fault. I went to look yesterday. It's the motherboard. I need to take a look at it. I have a spare, but it's not from. But it's for my machine and not cheap now. Oh no. No Chinese music for you as well. I know how it would upset you so much. Um, Maybe. Well, this is radio related, but yeah, 28 volts. Weird, that, isn't it? You miss out. Well, that's all right, Roundy. We can sort that out. Tell your dad to put British Rail back together. My dad too, Dennis. My dad too. He was a British Rail driver. Later Virgin or one of them. Click, click, click. No, the cowbells are there, those there. I just didn't enable them. Ba, ba, ba. Aha. Funny enough, yeah, because I remember years ago when I was a bus mechanic fixing motor buses, one of the biggest jobs was changing all the little bulbs. And we got a lovely batch of 28-volt bulbs. They did seem to last a little bit longer though, but they obviously had aircraft uh, connections. They were lovely quality stuff as well, so you could see them in the dash of a 737 or whatever. Understand fast updates were causing songs. What's the beer? The beer is from Roundy Mooney's hometown of County Cork, sir. Oh, Beamish. Right, here's what I have. I think it's RAF. Jesus, the way we got this. I can actually tell you the day I got this. I got this the day of Tuomo's funeral. Chap gave it to me. Anyway, VHF trans receiver, which obviously means transceiver. I was going to make a little video about this to see if anyone would. A nice couple of connections in the back, right? So Does anyone want to see inside the unit? Yeah, the 400 hertz was for saving weight because much smaller transformers, which is interesting. They all want to see. Oh, Jesus Christ! They all want to see inside. So we will show them inside. We will. Flat blade screwdriver. Flat blade screwdriver. Oh, where, oh, flat blade screwdriver do you hide? You reside somewhere here, but I know not where. Do you reside over here? Or over there? Shall we ever know where you reside? Where do you hide? When your nail is the best flat blade screwdriver you can find. That's interesting, Mr. Chipmunk. It won't matter. No one will know. But I'll never go away. Right. We have removed the lid, which appears to be made out of aluminium. It's stated on the cover that the maximum or the working voltage is from 22 to 29 volts. AV mounting required. I don't know what that means. Maximum height 30,000 feet, which is interesting. Perhaps it was not in a pressurized cabin. And the weight is 16.75 pounds. Very interesting. So yeah, it's heavy enough, like it's 8 kilos. Or just a bit more. Or so. And she's all valve. From, I think there was a date on it somewhere, but I can't remember where. It's bloody heavy. All valve. Look at that. Isn't that just a bit snazzy? There's obviously, that's the output valve there. Look at that. Isn't that snazzy? But VHF, which is, so it's not in the regular aircraft band. Now the RAF used higher VHF, you know, sort of, I think just below band 3. They used, so. And it has forced air cooling as well. There's a motor. So if you see down in here, see the motor here? And it's ducted. Look, see the way it's, there's a little duct there, blows the air in the output valve. And then the air comes out then down here as well and blows in the valves. There's a little bit of thought went into making this, as you can see. Obviously, it's as much use to me as a chocolate teapot. Nice handle on it. And this doofer here is actually a filter for the fan, so it doesn't suck in dust and shit. Yeah, that's quite true, Chipmunk. It could well be. I think it's aircraft radio. Well, it says transceiver, so you know. Yeah. Oh, here's a date on it. I knew there was a date on it somewhere. The reference is STC, which I take it is the company. ML7, mod number 1, day 20 22nd of the 10th, 53, and then there's a reference number underneath that, ML36, and then there's a date of 1st of the 8th, 56 on that. So I'll just show you that. See what you shithead fucking focus. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. There you go. There you go. You can do it. So, I don't know. Is there 100 of them kicking around and no one's interested? Or if some arsehole was putting a Vulcan back together or something and was missing one, would they want it? You tell me. Paper caps, that's a good question. Ugh, it really is a well-built piece of kit. They're paper caps. Paper caps. I don't see any paper caps. No. They look like them little small ceramic jobbies. Because I'm looking in the RF section. Surely there's decouplers. I certainly don't see any Hunt's paper caps in there now. In fact, I don't know what they're using. I don't really see any. I see ceramic caps alright. And plenty of them. 470 puff, 3.3 puff. But there's a metal cap, one of them metal sailed caps in there. Of course, the need for decoupling at 400 hertz, or it's probably a very well smoothed DC supply she was getting in the first place. So probably don't need all that many of them. I'm surprised the changeover relays from transmit to receiver in the open air. You think they'd have little covers over them, wouldn't you? That's right, Chipmunk, of course. Yeah. Yeah. So, Chipmunk reckons she could be sought after. Perhaps it is. It's hard to know. It would probably work if you gave it the beans. Giving it the beans is a problem because that plug on the back with, 12 connections or whatever's on it. I may as well be looking into a pot of piss. However, I haven't actually even Googled it yet, to be fair. So, I probably should have looked it up. Here's the front as well. I don't think I did a great detail look at the front. Focus, 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 focus. You can do it, you can do it. There you go. When it does focus, it is nice and sharp, close up. There's move that over mutant level and volume. And then, as I say, there's a big paper filter in there, and that's the area connection. Like a sort of a push SO239 or whatever you call it. So, an interesting little box. Yeah, I thought open air relays were a bit odd for something that would obviously put so much effort into. Um, now we only got to Bletchley Park. Good stuff. I'll well believe it, Kev. The old Aldi stuff can be pretty good at times. Um, yeah, some good stuff in Lidl, alright. Lidl and Aldi have some good stuff. So that's the radio anyway. I thought, or transceiver, or whatever it is. We thought that would be of interest. It's there's some serious build quality in it, alright. Pity it's not a HF rig. It could certainly be pressed into some sort. Mr. Dranfield is here. Shut up, everyone. He's here. White Sapphire says 2 meter is inquiring about 2 meters. I don't know what the situation is in your part of the world. 2 meters is just quiet here, but if you got sort of 4 or 5 regular users you'd hear on the 2 meter repeater here in Tree Rock. But certainly a welcoming bunch. If you put a call in, you'd certainly get. So I don't know what the story is. I'd say 2 meter equipment can be picked up very cheaply, far more cheaply than HF gear. So I'd say it's worth looking at. I mean, you can buy a Baofeng handheld walkie-talkie, for like 20 quid on the internet, and that'll you use that on 2 meters, no problem. So it's not an expensive band to get on at all. In fact, I would recommend 2 meters for anyone starting out on amateur radio as a good starting spot. Michael Dranfield said he hasn't been on YouTube for 3 weeks due to the wife's mother being unwell, we shall say. She's 91 though. I'm sorry to hear that, Michael. It's not simple. Yeah, jump on and have a go, but get yourself a Baofeng UV5R, and they're cheap, and there's plenty of them around. And there's loads of information about them. So you can be on the 2 meter band for the 20 quid. White Sapphire says you can get a Yaesu 2 meter set as new in the box for £100. Can't remember what model. What's the requirements with regard to a license, etc.? I'll leave that to someone in the UK to answer, as I wouldn't be qualified to answer. I don't know what the crack is in the UK. I know here you have to sit an exam, which I've done, obviously. I think there's a 3-class system in the UK. I'm sure the lowest of that will get you access to the 2 meter band. Here, the Honor is here. Ahoy, says he. Says, "Oi, how are you? Hope you're keeping well out there." Michael Dranfield comes from the citizens band community, so does not believe in licenses. The license is simplified in the UK, yeah, and I think it's going to get simpler as well. So. Great to see all these people in the chat. I should do what I usually do as well and say, who's the participants in the chat? Participants. We have Erdogan, Kev B, Michael Dranfield, Richard 100, Roundy Mooney, Chipmunk, and White Sapphire. I'm sure there was a few more kicking in around there too. Live chat has disappeared. There we go. Thumbs up. Do thumbs up if you can thumbs up. 28 of you watching. Yet Roundy Mooney is disappointed because there's only 26 thumbs up, which is just not good enough. Right. Roundy Mooney has noise in problems, but he's going to look into it. Good. I have CB kit, but it's as dead as a doornail over here, except for the half megawatt brigade. Make friends. That can be easier said than done sometimes in these situations. And it can get very messy to the point where sometimes you're better off just packing it in, collecting stamps or some such. Very good. Joe King! Joe King is in the chat. It is great to see you in the chat, Mr. King. Oh. You tell me, Joe, am I allowed to tell people your legendary status? Or should I say nothing? I used to work with a guy who used a transistor radio with a ferrite rod to locate cable faults. Well, that sounds like a clever idea, alright? Absolutely. Joe King. It's fine to say, no problem. Joe King is one of Ireland's foremost. I don't know, how would you describe yourself, Joe? Legend of pirate radio. Built most of the transmitters from scratch. Self-taught. And now, if you're listening to commercial radio in Ireland, the chances are it's through a transmitter that Mr. King has supplied. Yes, Joe King is. Joe King is a name that more people in Ireland should know, I think. But he's a bit bashful and he won't go on camera because I wanted to interview him on camera, but yeah, he's a little bit bashful or shy or something, I don't know. But I think we'll talk Joe around eventually, I think. I hope you're keeping well, Joe. It's great to see you in the chat. Them dirty bastards went and blew up that mast down in Clarkstown, which is an absolute disgrace. It was not their mast to blow up. It's all wrong. If only we could find some way to get back on longwave. I'd like to rebroadcast RTE on longwave. I think that'd be just the way to do it. But RTE, just to go on an aside rant here, I have no respect for RTE in any way, shape, or form. Just a shower. They really are. Um, the things that have come out about them in the recent past, um, unbelievable. And Joe was relating a story to me about back in the 80s, in the pirate radio days, where they were blocking the links. RTE were acting the pirate themselves. Um, dirty, dirty. Not on 252 though. I'm going to build a little multi-channel transmitter and give myself a bit of choice. I like the sound of that, Mr. Mooney. Yeah. I can hear gold here on 1548 mic. And it's an awful shame that that's disappearing. They should be left alone. They should stay on. A couple of these stations should stay on. Definitely. I see there's a bit of traction behind trying to keep Radio 4 on long wave, which I'd really love to see. But I don't think 198 is going to stay though. I think it's going to go as well. It's an awful shame. It really, that bothers me more than RTE leaving long wave. I think the BBC should stay on long wave. Definitely. I think it's an awful shame that they're pulling the plug on that wonderful service. Massive, massive shame. Well, funny enough, this is a discussion myself and Mr. King had. Who, as I say, his company, BTS. I think is it Broadcast and Transmitter Services, Joe. BTS. He's of the opinion that in 10 years there won't be an FM service in Ireland. That's dying, and you can see that all these the market is saturated for a start. Over here in Ireland, I think it's different in the UK. There isn't so many of them around. But over here in Ireland, the FM broadcast service here is saturated. Broadcast technical services. My apologies, Joe. Slap in the hand. And it is. I mean, I spin the dial here. Just for the crack here, right? Right. This is FM here. So, what's that proof? You can barely find a blank space on FM here. There must be 40 stations there. So the FM dial is just wedged. And they're all competing for advertising and what have you. And I think they're competing with these. More and more people are streaming on their phone in the car. They're not listening to the radio. So I think there's a problem. Our local FM dial is packed here, but mostly less than 5 watt transmitters. That's interesting, Chipmunk. That's not a thing over here. Radio 1 UK was created because of the pirates. Yeah, it was a government-wide opinion report to avoid giving licenses to private businesses and issue creating the pirates and the UK government in denial. Yeah. Mooney says it's a lot cheaper to pay a data center than to run a TX network. Absolutely. Ofcom, well, that's what happened here. Licenses were handed out in cornflakes packets back in the early 90s in Ireland to push out all the pirates. And I think there was a pretty big pirate network at one time. I mean, Joe King has the full history of pirate radio in Ireland, and he can go into great detail about it. That's why I want to interview him on camera. But yeah, it's a sad situation. But of course, as all these leave the FM band, it leaves it open to us again. And I think FM will be abandoned at some stage. I think a couple of stations will probably hang on, but a lot of them will die off. But I think it's going to end up the same wasteland as medium wave, which means we can sneak in with little transmitters and things and have fun. I do have to laugh at the one of the forums, one of the vintage radio forums, who are so concerned about the talk of pantry radio transmitters interfering with neighbours. Pantry radio transmitter, for anyone who doesn't know, it's a small medium wave transmitter that puts out a couple of milliwatts, so you can listen to radio and stream audio to vintage radios. That switch mode power supply from a mobile phone charger like this here probably radiates more interference than a pantry radio transmitter. And the other thing that I find laughable is if there's no one listening to medium wave anymore, who are you going to be bothering with our pantry transmitter on medium wave? I'm amazed they left it open too, Roundy. Indeed. And there was actually some interesting information on it. The moderation has gotten a bit out of hand, I think, at times. Although I don't. It's still a good forum. All three forums, I think, have their place and are good. And I interact with all three. Although not as much as I used to. And I think everyone else is the same. There's an awful lot of names missing out of the forums that you would have seen 10 years ago. And I think most of those people have migrated to Facebook pages dedicated to whatever their preference is, be it radio or television. Sorry, Tommy Hanlon's in the chat. Good evening, Tommy. Good to have you here. Harmonics might be an issue if you don't know what you're doing. That is a fair point. Yeah, I'd agree with that. That is a fair statement, Mr. Mooney. It's a great forum, but ridiculously moderated. Indeed. I think the VRAT forum has an awful lot to offer. And I think the Goulburn forum is pretty quiet. Although, as I say, all three have their place. And I don't criticise any of them or make comments in that regard. I don't interact with them. I read all three every day, but I don't interact as much as I would have. At one time, I did quite a few write-ups on vintage TVs and stuff over the years on the UK VRR, but not so much anymore. All are full of useful information. That is very true, Chipmunk. You can generate 200 kilohertz with 555. Very good. Let's look into that. I think I did see a schematic, as our friends across the water would say, using a 555 as an AM transmitter. Matt Grimm asked, do you think that public access television would have a place in Ireland? Probably not. It never was something here, and I don't think it'll take off now because community groups just have YouTube channels and Facebook videos and stuff like that, which is a shame. ITV in its current form happened because of backhanders to Tories, more than getting his fingers into Grenada to enable them to do what they spent 50 years trying to do. Like a community TV channel? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anyone here is up to speed with the British Heritage Television group who are trying to bring 405 lines back to Band 1. But it's gone pretty quiet lately, so I don't know what the story is with that. I'm not for feeling it's not going to happen, although they have built the transmitter. Yeah, I'd like to have a go at going up somewhere really, really high. What is Band 1 allocated to now? Well, it's allocated in Ireland in the Republic, it is allocated to amateur radio. On a secondary basis, but on a secondary basis to what I don't know because there's nothing there. I think the French military might have some comms there, around 40 to 50 megahertz. And indeed, it was them who objected to Ofcom giving a license to the BHTS for Band 1, Channel 1 when they applied. Because they said they had it, although I'd say they're only holding the space. I wouldn't say they're even using it. Secondary to Band 1 for the 5-line TV? I don't think so, but there was a lot of PMR mobile radio in Ireland at one stage. But obviously that's died off now. None of that anymore. There's no more vans going around with radios in them. There's some low band VHF taxis knocking around. There's one taxi crowd in Drogheda, which isn't too far away from here, which is still on low band VHF around 84, 85 megahertz. But it's pretty rare now because it's all apps and stuff, all online. So anyway, yeah, so in Ireland, Band 1 is allocated to amateurs. I think they were given on a secondary basis between 30 and 50 megahertz, and then from 52 megahertz to 70 megahertz or something like that. But of course, it's not being used. And there's one thing that keeps being talking about on the UK VRR forum. There's one particular user in question who keeps saying, the medium wave band should be handed over to amateur radio users. When the last of the broadcasters in the UK leave. I absolutely disagree with that. There's no way that the medium wave band should be handed over solely to amateur radio. And I'm a licensed amateur radio operator, but I think it should be made open to everyone. Because you spin your dial through top band, and you will hear nothing most of the time, or you'll hear a couple of elbows screaming at one another. So why would you give them medium wave? So that they can have it locked into themselves and never use it? No, I don't agree with that. It should be open to everyone to use their pantry radio transmitters or something even a little bit stronger than that. I think we should have the low power AM thing like they have in Holland, where you can apply for a 1 watt amateur radio or a 1 watt license and you can party on. I think that's great. $136, $740, top band enough. Yeah. What about my 8th cordless phone? I still have that works. Yeah. I'm 49.9 or whatever it was megahertz. Yeah. They were good, all right. Indeed, it can, Dennis. It can go very far. Wingers. Inclined to agree with that as well. Too busy having bloody contests. You used to listen to them on a scanner, Chipmunk. I used to listen to them on a little black and white television. Ian Deacon is in the chat. Good evening, Mr. Deacon, sir. Talking about how to get on with the doctor. Yeah, no, I used to have a little Reynolds black and white television in my bedroom years ago. I used to be able to pick up a couple of phones around the area. All right, Chipmunk, I'm going in for another can. before I go, do you want to be left with some squealing Jimmy, Chinese Jimi Hendrix one, or will I leave you in peace? I'll leave you in peace. I'll leave you in peace. No, I won't do that. Right. I have returned. Chipmunk can be happy with more likes than viewers. Yous are easily pleased. Now cowbell and yous are happy for life. It's great. Good old Beamish. Let me go back. To where it all began. Oh, there's been an awful lot of chat going on since I left. Rob's radio channel's here. Good evening, sir. Blah, blah, blah. Back when Channel 4 was edgy and not woke. Jesus. You must have a long memory because that's a while ago now. With one wire, a bit of pencil, and a D cell, you can do a lot, alright. Yeah, there's a spark gap transmitter going off around here all day. No, don't say too much, Jim, in case I censor you. Well, I wouldn't do that. But I do try to keep political content to a minimum. I frequent a winner. Rob's radio channel says we had thunderstorm today. No thunder where I am. We watched one episode of that Retro Repair Chrome on UK TV or wherever it is. I was between cringing and swearing at the TV. Won't be watching another. Oh dear. Well, all discussion about that program has been banned from certain vintage radio fora. I wasn't overly impressed, to be honest. And someone sent me a link or a screenshot from Facebook where someone said that it was basically I didn't agree with it, but it was basically a rip-off of me, Michael Dranfield, and Shango 66, made as a TV program. Somebody said. Um, Hello, Wenlock TVDX. uh, Countdown, of course. Channel 4, Countdown. Don't forget 15 to 1. Yeah, Richard Whiteley was one of the good guys, alright. Noel Edmonds, I take it you're talking about. Yeah. That poor chap got killed off the crane that time. Noel Edmonds was odd, but he disappeared for us. The bit where he fell out, your man fell off the crane. Oh, Jesus, I remember watching about that. The, the film full of cans. Jesus Christ. Unreal. I think Dale or No Dale is a No Dale anymore. I think that's gone a good few years now, Roundy. I don't think Noel is on the box anymore. I think they finally cut him out. I think there was something about the production company of Dale or No Dale and him having a fallout on court and stuff, and yeah. Oh, very good, Chipmunk. Michael Lush, a carpenter, that's right. Blobbyland. Oh, do fill us in. I remember something about Blobbyland, alright, but it wasn't abandoned for years. I seem to remember the YouTube channel where they were going around inside it all. Blobby is an instrument of Satan. Bloop, 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 bloop. Yeah, strange. His what was it called on the telly? His Saturday night party or the Noel Edmonds house party. Remember that, alright? Noel's house party. Yeah. Strange. That bloody goo they used to put everyone in the box and they used to get drenched with that weird goo stuff. I didn't like that bit. I'm not supporting Guinness. I'm supporting Beamish, our friends from Cork. Obviously, for Roundy Mounty's sake. Got millions of viewers. Well, this is it. You see, we forget anyone that's sort of over, say, 30 comes from an age when there was 4 or 6 buttons on the box, and whichever one you picked, it was a big deal. Yeah, interesting. So there was less choice. I think the quality probably was better. I do think that we do have a tendency to look back with rose tinted glasses at this stuff, but I do think the quality probably was better back then. Yeah, I never liked the gunge. You never liked that. Wow. Um, had nothing on. That's very right, Roundy. Yeah, he was right with that one. There's nothing. I haven't actually watched television. And the television in the front room in our house, which isn't actually, it's connected to an airbox, which is streamed from the internet. It's like a Freeview box, but it's internet based, which I haven't switched on in probably 4 weeks. I haven't switched the telly on at all. 4 weeks. Not interested. In fact, strongly thinking of taking the fucking thing out and putting one of these boxes in. There's just nothing on that I am bothered with. I did get a thing recently called a Roku box. That's ROKU. I read about it on the UK Vintage Radio Forum, and it was a chap who sometimes calls in here. Can't remember his name that he uses on YouTube, but Kevy, yeah, his YouTube name is Kevy Wevy Woo. I can't remember if that's his forum name as well. Anyway, he was recommending the Roku box for anyone who watches 405 and 405 line through a standards converter and blah blah blah. And I bought one anyway. They're only 20 quid, and I have to say it's an excellent little gizmo. It's a tiny little thing, YouTube and all. So I'm gonna put that and an RF modulator into a slightly bigger box, so it'll be a self-contained unit. I heard TG4 got a new channel on Serview. It's called what's this called? Cool na Catter. It's a teenagers Irish language television station. I'm sure that will be most successful. Here's the other little bit of the license fee. Spaz. I know. No, I shouldn't say that. Might be commercially sensitive. Something about an Irish language radio station. But I don't think it's going to take off for teenagers. If they can find a clear space on the dial, of course. Clowns. You say that, Roundy, that they're supposedly cracking down on dodgy boxes here. And then I read an article recently that says the guards will not prosecute anyone over dodgy boxes. Are not going to. I read that somewhere, so I don't know. I don't have a dodgy box, so it's not something that bothers me a whole lot. And even if they did, sure, I'll go to jail for the day. Why not? Get me dinner on the bus fare home. They do it. Yeah, no, I wouldn't knock TG4 a whole lot either. I remember years ago when they first started up, if you wanted to watch a really good, gritty film at night, TG4 was the place to go. TG4, for obviously our UK friends who don't know, is the Irish language broadcast service in Ireland. And they are actually funded by the licence fee, although only by a minute amount. They probably get about 5% of the licence fee, if even that. But they do make good shows. The really good gritty films. I can remember I seeing Clockwork Orange on TG4 one night. Easy Rider. They used to show an American program called Oz, which was about Oswald Prison. I think it was a fictional prison, which was really good. I used to watch that all the time. That was a great program. All these were on TG4. Really gritty, interesting stuff. They used to also show old BBC documentaries from the 90s, going in and documentaries on, outlaws in South America and all this kind of stuff. Fascinating channel. So it was. Now, I haven't seen TG4 in years, so I don't know if that's still the case now at night or not. But I can remember walking in years ago when I was 18 or whatever, putting on the box where I feed a bear and eating me chicken balls and curry sauce, watching TG4. They also used to show South Park as well. Yeah. And the Westerns, that's right. Yeah. No, it was Rob's radio channel says Ryan Tuberty got a new job. Probably driving a dump truck or something. South Park Asquega. Yeah, but I didn't mind. I had the subtitles on it, didn't I? We didn't have MTV or whatever South Park was on, so he didn't. No, I don't think so either. I never heard of a chipmunk. Let's see what others have to say. The Noel Kelly PR machine. I probably should get myself involved with Noel Kelly. I wonder what he could do for me. Again, there's a lot of talk here that we must be cognizant of the fact that our UK viewers in the chat, who make up probably 70% of the viewership here, a lot of them, if they're not in touch with what's going on in local Irish news, won't have a clue who we're talking about. And that's why I stop every now and again and explain these things, such as TG4. Noel Kelly was Ryan Tuberty's manager, to put it lightly, I suppose. Agent. Ryan Tuberty was the highest paid presenter in RTE, which is our version of your BBC, except they are commercial as well in the sense that they run ads. So shouldn't be short of money, although they say they are. And money and scandals and backhanders and brown envelopes and Renault motor cars and so on and so forth. And you probably get it all. It was actually shown on BBC News though. Norman Donny, hi JJ, all have been here since you started but have been chatting on the phone. No, well, Norman, great to have you aboard. Chipmunk knows who Noel Kelly is. Obviously, Chipmunk is some sort of superstar. He's probably your agent, is he, Chipmunk? I don't know. I was trying to remember the name of the site earlier when talking on Discord. I just couldn't remember until you mentioned it. Chipmunk. Ryan Tuberty has moved to London to work in a radio show on Croydon Underground. 89.6 Pirate FM. 2 watts off the local tower block or something. Chipmunk absorbs useless information. I do that too. And people come and ask me about useless information. Like my boss today came down and asked me about, said that they had a pocket watch, which they thought needed oil, and so they bought oil online. And they put 2 drops of oil inside the pocket watch, and now the pocket watch doesn't work. And how would they fix the pocket watch? And I was able to tell them the name of a person who specialises in pocket watch repair. If only all this information was worth any money. Anyway. Here in Scotland, we have a relatively limited Gaelic radio and TV service. Yes, Alba, BBC Alba, and so on. I remember that starting up alright. Indeed. It is nice to know, yeah, even if it isn't worth anything to you. Most pirate radio stations are recorded on MP3s. Andy Cowley is in the chat. Good evening, sir. We have 36 viewers with 36 thumbs up. Roundy Mooney, do something quick. Not bad out live stream this at all, is it, gentlemen and ladies? Sure, here, I'll do a poll. I'll do a stupid poll. I don't know what this thing is. An emoji of some description. Hello. Oh, George, did you try picking up Radio Poland on 225 Longwave? I can pick it up here, no bother, at night. Probably not now with all this computer shit on for the live stream, but yeah. 225 is handy enough to get. Jim wants to know what the story is. The large grunting beside me. It's going for recycling, Jim. I'm just giving it one last run before I put it in the crusher. Replacement just shows white screen. Rang manufacturer. I was listening to it last week. Yeah, no, it's handy enough to get. One to catch would be 189 on Iceland. If you can get that, you'd be doing well. We have, I think, is it Romania is still on 153. No, Chipmunk. Crush it. Yeah. And of course, Algeria on 252, which is a piece of piss to pick up because they're running 2 megawatts. We have 34 viewers with 37 thumbs up. Where do these people come and go from? I do not know. I know there are several people who watch me who absolutely refuse 100% to engage with the live chat, which is a shame, but their choice, which we shall respect. And we will say hello to everyone who refuses to participate. Sexton Mallard is here. And Sexton Mallard is between the UK and Cork, I believe, which is where Rowney Mooney is obviously a native of. Sexton Ballard, for those of you who don't know, is a regular contributor to the UK Vintage Radio and Restoration Forum and also a collector of vintage radios and televisions. Warmer UK is here. RTA 3 and 252 plays a lot of pop music, and they play a lot of oddball stuff too, like good stuff. Like they were playing, oh, the mind goes blank. King Crimson the other night, which is not something you hear on the radio too often. Sexton Mallard was restoring a 625 line VHF Irish television set, if I'm not mistaken, and wonder how you got on with it. The Grundig's not really going to the dump, Jim. The Grundig is safe and sound. Don't panic. Indeed. What I want is some RF engineer to come up with a solution to long wave radio transmitting aerials. Building the transmitter isn't hard, but building a, if you come up with some sort of a short aerial that could be loaded up that would be efficient at radiating, that'd be just wonderful. Although you do say that, Chipmunk, I have tried and advertised several televisions of this vintage and had absolutely no interest in them at all. Fractal antennas I use so much that it shouldn't be hard for someone to do that. Fractal antennas. Interesting. Norman Donny inquires, what happened to the valve card radio you got a few months ago? I didn't do anything with it. However, I can tell you that it's multiplied and I now have 3 of them. When I mentioned it on my YouTube channel, someone got in touch with me who had 2 more of them. So I now have 3 of them. Again, time is short and I have a lot of stuff to get through, and at the minute I just do not have time for one reason or another, personal issues and family and blah blah blah, work and commitments and shite. This really is taking a backseat, but I do hope the winter will allow me a few hours in the evening to start getting through, because I have some really interesting stuff I do want to share, but I don't want to get into something that I can't finish. So with the way space is here, if something goes on the bench, it has to be finished before it can come off the bench and something else can go on. So that's the way it's going to be. But yeah, no, Valve Radio will be featured. One of them anyway. I won't do all 3, but I'll do one just for the video purposes. It sounds interesting, Mr. Mallard. I deliberately keep the shelf space limited. Something needs to get done before something else can be started. Good man. That's the way to do it around. When I saw that video of yours featuring that TV, I was like, put wood grain Fablon on the sides. Yeah, well, funny enough, I tried to get rid of one of them lately too, and there was no interest in it either. It is sad the way things are going. I think that the vintage TV fad might be dying off with the retro gamers. And I think they've copped on that if it doesn't have a Sony badge on the front, they're not interested. Careful now, Word Honor. Careful now. Most antennas for sub 600 millimeters are ceramic PCB mounted unless they need to use full antenna. With LMB, seldom see fractal types. I felt they were still stuck for hams. Do do do. Or like I suggest, a decent long fence in there. Paddy. I think for transmitting aerial, um, vertical is the way to go. But load it up at the bottom with a big fuck off coil and a capacity hat on top. I think the capacity hat on top and the ground plane below could be more important actually than the height of the antenna itself. Um, I've been giving this a lot of thought lately, and I hope to be able to do some practical experiments at some stage. But I think something like 40 foot high vertical, with like a big fuck off capacity hat, like 6, 10 foot half-inch copper pipes coming off the top as a capacity hat, and then loads of radials, hundreds of radials, as long as possible, and an inch or two in the ground. I think that could be the trick, but it is fucking black magic. Yeah, nobody can afford that many copper pipes these days. There might be aluminium, who knows? But yeah, I think that might be the trick. I don't know, but we'll see. We shall see. I think 100 milliwatts loaded up into a proper antenna system like that could do a lot. It do a lot on 1620 kilohertz. I probably won't be too keen on doing a whole lot down at 252 kilohertz or 270 kilohertz. What I was thinking. But then again, like if you drive past an airport that still has a long wave NDB, there's NDBs around North County Dublin for Dublin Airport, long wave NDBs. I mean, they're pretty small arrays. I mean, there's one at Parkmarnock whose frequency and call sign escapes me just now, but it's a say 20-foot pole with a capacity hat on it with a funny shape, and it runs 10 watts. I know that because my cousin of mine works works for the Irish Aviation Authority and is in charge of the NDBs. I was actually asked him on one time, could he get me one when they turned them off? But anyway, he was saying they run 10 watts and they have got QSL cards from as far away as Slovenia for that one. So, it's possible. And remember, they're MCW, they're modulated quantum wave, they're not those CW. So they're AM transmitters basically. Oh, I think we can keep it a secret. NDBs will go soon. They will. Pains me to see those transmitters go in the bin, because if you get your hands on one of those, I mean, they're a class bit of kit, they're proper stuff. They're like this aircraft transceiver here, they're proper stuff. No, they're not. I was aware of that, Rob. Algeria and Poland have no plans to turn off anytime soon. And that's great news. It's so sad to see the medium wave band die off. But as I say, I don't want to see it handed over to amateur radios. I want to see it handed over to people like us, and give us a little bit of power. Give us 10 watts ERP and see what we can do. It'd be class, wouldn't it? Algeria is a border blaster indeed, and it's one of the last. They have got good tunes. As I say, I heard King Crimson on them the other night, and that's a band you don't hear on the radio too often. Right, be back in a minute, lads, for the last can. And then we'll pull the plug, which will probably be around 11:15. Thanks, gents. Yeah. Speaking of coils, I've read that the children's slinky can make a good shortwave area. I remember hearing that before, but I don't know how true it was, Jim. On radio live, we got less than 10 ohms from a single 4-foot et rod. Admittedly, it was dug into a foreshore of a tidal estuary. Banggood are good for tools, and they have EU hubs as well. Got a digi microscope for SMD kit and a hot air station 2 weeks ago for less than 80 quid. Yeah, I use AliExpress. I've never used. No, I did years and years ago. I used Banggood, but I gave up. I think I found AliExpress easier to navigate or something at the time. I haven't looked at Banggood in years and years, so I don't know what the story is. With them, maybe they've updated their apps or whatever. Like I'm talking probably 10 years ago. Jesus, Roundy. Oh dear, Kev. It has gone very expensive, but sure, everything has. It's just the way it is. $30 with humidity of 97%. That's serious going. What is it here? Now, granted, there's a television running directly underneath the thermometers, so it's probably not ideal. But apparently, it's 30.5 degrees. I don't believe that. Yeah, I think we're getting a bit of heat off the television there. Used stuff is turning up in the supply chain. Of course it is. This comes back to this fucking myth that everyone is being sold about recycling. So all these arseholes consumers. Sorry, I'm getting a bit tick about this. We were talking about this earlier on to a friend of mine. And we're saying, what has Ireland done to the UK? The problems that we face now. And we were talking about the labour market and the fact that no one under 30 wants to do any work anymore. They want to stay at home, sit in their PlayStation, and I'm going to sit in my bedroom. You could be a truck driver. You're 23 years of age. Do you want to be a truck driver? No, I'm going to stay in my bedroom and play Truck Simulator 2000. And there's a lot of shit wrong with the world. But one of the problems is consumerism. I can sit in my house and work from home, and I can buy the latest gadget gizmo off Amazon, and I can feel good about it because it gets delivered in an electric van, and everything is great. Yeah, and all the shit that you're producing, And the stuff that you bought last week that you're throwing out this week goes into to your recycling centre, and then it gets put into a truck that gets brought to wherever arsehole has the contract for taking the stuff into their big warehouse, and then they sift through it and they find what they like and they don't like, and then that goes put into a container, and then that gets shipped to like somewhere like India or China, and then a lot of little children have to climb all over this shit, and yeah, and then they set fire to it to try and get the copper out of it and stuff like this. It's a disgrace, and I'm on my fourth can, Tommy. Keep up. It's a disgrace what's going on. It's all in the name of consumerism. All this bullshit about, you know, your house is hurting the planet because it's not an A-rated house and all this shit. It's nonsense. Absolute nonsense, right? It's you don't live in an A-rated house or you drive an SUV, so you're a bad person. But it's okay for these arseholes to buy shit on Amazon that's put into a 747 and flown halfway across the world. That's okay. Ask me bollocks. What a load of shite. I'm a bad man because of a 30-year-old television that hasn't got A-rated efficiency, blah, blah, blah. That television isn't hurting anyone. Its carbon footprint was stamped a long time ago. Recycling. Recycling me hole. The one thing to talk about the 3 R's, they never mention repair. Right? If the climate problem and all this was being taken as seriously as they wanted to be taken, the first thing they would do is they would ban the production of new consumer products like televisions, radios, hi-fis, all that, and it would all be put back to repair, keep what you've got going, all that kind of stuff. If it's such an emergency, to the severity which were being pumped into every day, you turn on BBC News, RTE News, whatever, you're being pumped this, climate that, blah blah blah. Lithium mining, right? You look at pictures of lithium mines in North Africa, all these children, as far as the eye can see, little pigs digging shit out of the ground. It's disgusting. It's disgusting what's going on. And yet there was a chap on YouTube, but I haven't seen the video yet, so I can't say too much about it. But he was being asked, they've banned light bulbs in America, right? Incandescent light bulbs, that is. That ban has finally come in. I think Trump knocked it back a couple of years ago, but they finally got it in. So incandescent light bulbs are now illegal in America, in the USA, that is. And this young fella, anyway, my friend was telling me about it earlier on. He sent me a link to the video, but I didn't get to watch it yet. This young fella went and spent like $2.5 million or something buying up all the incandescent light bulbs because he's a head case, like us. But he said, they were interviewing him, he says, the answer to this, it's not to start banning stuff like this and light bulbs and shit. It's, make more power. Nuclear power is the way forward. This is what this young fella was saying. And he's probably right if it's done correctly. But yeah. No, instead they're just going to try and squish us. And the multinationals can use as much power as they want. That's okay. But don't turn on a 60-watt light bulb in your gaff. No. That's bold. Bastards. Anyway. Someone is a bad chipmunk is a bad person because I sit in the van outside a customer's house running the engine for the aircon. So do I. I run the aircon on my car too. What about the carbon impact of recycling? There's probably more carbon burnt. And since when was carbon? Why is it carbon? It's carbon dioxide. Nothing wrong with carbon. Nothing wrong with carbon dioxide either. It's a valuable gas. I remember listening to a podcast a couple of years ago by a fella, And he was saying that in 30 years' time, carbon dioxide will be a very, very valuable gas. I don't know. Anyway. You're a bad man, Chipmunk. Buy something if you need it, by all means. But this crack of you go down to Dixon's or Harvey Norman's or whatever, and you buy a 52-inch flat screen TV, and in 18 months' time, there's a snazzy ad in the television says, "You're old, obsolete television. Get a new one, man." Ask me bollocks. Ha, Chipmunk. There's obviously a catch with Chipmunk. New to me on eBay. And the only remaining incandescents in my house are in the shack for the gym bulb. Yeah, I don't run any in the house either. But that's not to say, that's only from a cost of electricity point of view. CFL backlights are bad for the environment, Chipmunk. They contain mercury. I wonder if we can stop putting helium into party balloons as it's getting rare. Apparently, that's not a thing now. They found another helium seam somewhere, and it's not a problem anymore. There's loads of helium again. Yeah, I wonder what the selling point will be then. You know, it's interesting looking when you look at the evolution of the size of television screens. So, at the very start of television, there was 19 and 25-inch color television. There was 19-inch and 25-inch color TVs. Right, the 19-inch were most popular. Then going into the mid 70s, it came back from the 25-inch to the 22-inch, and the 22-inch television was the most portable for many years, way up into the mid 80s. And then it started to grow. 26 come back in again. Then the super squares come in, and it was 25-inch, 21-inch, and 25-inch super squares. And then the likes of this thing come in, 29-inch and that. And it's slowly then growing bigger and bigger. I think a 22-inch, for an average size living room, a 22-inch television is more than big enough. 26 if you're really pushed. This crack of fucking, you're hard pushed to find a 22-inch flat screen TV now. Or even a 26. Well, I think it goes 22 and then 32, doesn't it? I think 26 is a bit of an odd one. But it's nonsense. Total nonsense. Seamless LCDs are now possible. Nonsense. 86-inch. Yeah, no, he's in Harvey Norman's or one of them recently. I was looking at them. They're just nonsense. The 22 G8, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's too big round, isn't it? 70-inch. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't know, Tommy. Yeah, it's mad world. $86 is the average screen in a modern cinema. Jesus. Good night, Jim. Thanks for calling in. Why stadium? 40 inches is a sensible size for a flat screen TV. I think ours is 42, which is more than enough. I have a 300-inch Sony projector. I need to watch films on at the end of the wall of the house. Jeez, sounds interesting, alright. George Christophe just called in. Good evening, George. Hope you're keeping well. I was watching a little bit of. Mine's gone blank again. I'm suffering that a lot lately. Blank mind. Not good. I was watching our mutual friend, Vintage Electronics Repair, and I seen you in the chat talking about your issues with loss adjusters and so on the other evening. I do hope you're getting fixed up. Um, to anyone who doesn't know, George Christophe is a famous YouTuber who had a unfortunate event recently where his house went on fire and he lost his workshop, which is probably everyone's worst nightmare. Well, one of them. Mooney Mooney says the problem is half my place is on dimmers and the LEDs don't like dimmers. Have been put in first day for incandescent, so all need replacing. More manufacturing waste, indeed. Modern LED should be able to cope with the leading edge dimmers. Return the lamps. They should, yeah. I think LED dimmers. I think the simple ones can do it. The ones with just the capacitive dropper. I think the ones with the driver chip, they get upset. It doesn't have that Scientology. The Scientology lot are fight. The Scientology lot are fighting the right to repair laws. They don't want people to do teardowns of their bullshit or snake oil. They have some serious money to influence politicians. Fuck off. Is that the real reason behind that? Jesus. That's a new one on me, Dennis. That's interesting. I must look into that for when I knock off. That's nuts. I'm sure all it is an avometer on the high resistance range, basically. Interesting stuff. Oh yeah, we're always about 4 or 5 years behind the US with shit. Yeah, unbelievable. 31 viewers, 41 thumbs up. Roundy Mooney would be very impressed. I really don't want to be behind the US in any level. I'm sure they won't take offence, Roundy. I'm sure they know what you're getting at. I believe for young people in Ireland who want to get on in life, Portugal is now the place to be. We can't mention it, Tommy. We can't get into it. You don't want to be in front of them for a few reasons. No, indeed, warmer. It won't be long before 15:48. London is off. We were just discussing that earlier. I get it quite well here in the van driving around. It's an awful shame the way things are going, and I do apologise for that slight rant about recycling. But I do think, I see what goes on, and it is an awful shame. You see the best of stuff getting thrown out. To be, and not so much that this stuff is thrown out, because objects are objects, but where it goes and what happens to it after that. And this smoke screen that people are being sold, recycling is great. You're doing the planet a good turn by bringing your television or your Avo meter or your granddad's Avo meter down to the tip to put into the little metal cage. You're helping the planet. People really believe this shit. It's terribly sad. But then some little child in some far off country is picking over all this stuff. I think, Michael, when we said that America is ahead of Europe or the rest of the world, we meant in bullshit, not in actual technology terms. Did you know? If some nonsense idea comes into fashion in America, it will no doubt trickle down to the rest of us mere mortals in the dark ages. Not for shame. America's done the right thing keeping AM radio. They have, but I think it's not as popular as we're led to believe from our favourite YouTubers. Audio Al makes a statement which he agrees with me and I agree with him, so we're on the same page. Avos are like snakes and certain reptiles. They can independently breed on their own and do. Oh dear. That's funny that you mentioned that. Reptiles. I have a tortoise, which I think I featured on the channel once, many, many years ago. And Jack is the tortoise's name, and Jack is 70, or we're going to say around 73. And Jack, today, for the first time ever, Jack is a female, by the way, but it was called Jack because many years ago it was believed to be male, laid 3 eggs. Yeah, we were quite surprised by that. Jack has been acting oddly for the last couple of weeks, not eating food and so on and forth. And then today, after I went to work, I was duly informed by Mrs. Odge that Jack had laid, well, 2 successful eggs, 1 smashed on the way out. But now, obviously, these eggs are not fertilized or anything, but obviously explains a lot of what was wrong with the tortoise. Must have been egg bound or some such. So you never know, do you? Am I missing some comments? Chipmunk there is Rob, for the 22.5 volt battery or whatever, a stacked lithium cells, right? I understand what Chipmunk is saying, but I don't find any reference from Rob asking about that. So I think I might be missing comments in the live stream chat. I am on live chat, Roundy. 15 volt in an Evo, I use 2032s. That's what I do as well, Kev, have done for a long time. In fact, I've found them so stable as to the fact that I have not had to adjust the zero on the highest range since fitting them. They just don't drift. I said you need to get a battery for an Evo. Yeah, that's a stack of, as the lads say, a stack of lithium coin cells is the thing to do. Let me see. And take the back off this one. Oh, you can't really see, but it's been done a bit dirtily. But inside that taped up mess is 5 2032 coin cells with a bit of wire taped to top and bottom. And they have been in there since, and I'll put a date on this somewhere, 2016, which is 7 years ago. I bought this at the NVCF in 2016. I bought 2 of them. Well, I collected them from the NVCF. I bought them off the UK VR forum. A chap called Chris 55,000. He sold me 2 to make into one good one, which I did. Well, actually, I didn't, because I actually found this one was a good one anyway. And the other one that he sold me was had been dropped into seawater at some stage by the looks of it. So that was scrapped. But he had suspected that this one was faulty, but it wasn't actually when I checked it out. So I gave him £10 for the 2 of them anyway, and I've used that ever since. Really good meter. My favourite one. Anyway, the 2032 cells don't drift. I have not touched that zero since, and it has not moved. So it's ideal. Kelso Brackley says he has lots of incandescent bulbs still in service, some 40 or more years old, with caps in series in the switch boxes to make them last longer. I love that. That gentleman is overdue a telephone call from me, and I will ring you. I make you a promise. I'll ring you tomorrow around 2 o'clock. Because I've been saying that for ages. I need to ring that man. You know when you need to ring someone, you don't ring them. I'll ring you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. I remember seeing a guy on YouTube making an Evo battery from a stack of lithium cells. You've probably seen it here, Jim. Maybe not. But I still have an Evo I need to find. What? The Smasher? Mr. Dranfield doesn't like Evo meters. What's it meant to have? A C cell? No, it's a 15 volt cell, Roundy. It's a stack of 1.5 volt watch batteries. And they're crap. They really are. He had never actually seen them on rare. No, they're a weird little square bastard. Yeah, and they're no use. Every day is a school day, yeah. Wonder, did I put one on this? Yeah, this is another Evo. That's had the same, wrapped up with black tape. But then I can actually, I've just remembered, I have the Evo 10 here, which will show you exactly much better. This is the Aerometer 10, made for export, mainly to Australia. Very rare meter. This was my everyday meter at one time, but it fell out of general use. Due to its rarity, I thought I should stop using it, actually, because I didn't want to damage it. Excellent, has been overloaded many times without failure. And what I liked about this is, apart from the Evo, is that it's a single knob for all the ranges. Nice little meter, slightly smaller. Same cabinet as the digital DA. What was it? The DA116. Same. Anyway, you can see 5 lithium cells and a load of 2-cent coins. They're in there since I got it, and I don't have a date on this, but I'm gonna say this was around 2008. I actually bought this off John. It was on a high shelf in the shop for many years. He bought it and never used it, so I was stuck for a half decent multimeter when I started getting into vintage TV repair. And I can't remember what I gave him for it, but it wasn't much. But a token amount. And yeah, used it for many years till I got the Evo 8, that one. And then I sort of retired it because I was afraid I might damage it. It is actually quite a rare meter. The Evo 10. There you go. More useless information that doesn't make me any money. Let me go down the comments a bit more. Only I wish I could share pics with you. I made a few reproduction batteries a while ago. 4.5 volt batteries. Very good. With decent terminals. Spring terminals, yeah. Ray Bourne is here. Good evening, sir. It was me. And that was the coin cells for the underscore has gone to bed, I'd say. I think where he is, they're 2 hours ahead of us. Sounds good, Chipmunk. Indeed, Michael. You know what I'd love to do now, Michael? I'd love to be in that dodgy Chinese with you. That was a great night. We shall have to repeat that soon, I hope. The colourist is here. Another gentleman. Good evening, sir. We are glad of the digital fluke multimeters, Odgenods. Absolutely. We do enjoy them quite a lot. I like me flukes, although I have to say, rare exception. This UT, what's it called? A UT 70D. Very good meter. The only UNT meter I ever found that was any use was this. John had this in the shop for years and years. And Jared, I say, probably is comparable to the Fluke 80 series. But other than that, no, Fluke all the way for the digital multimeter. I've been buying e-bike batteries. Cheapest way to get lots of 18650 lithium cells. Indeed it is, George. The Indian would have been better. Must book the next time, absolutely, yeah. But sure, it was a good old night anyway. Myself and Michael had a bit of a night on the town when I was over there. And I thoroughly enjoyed myself in Buxton, which appeared to be closed on the night we went out, which was a Friday night. We went into a pub at 5 to 10 and we were told it was closed, which was interesting. They stay open until 2 o'clock over here. Just dug out an old meter a neighbour gave me. Eagle International KEW 6610, written in pen on the instructions is bought in Radionics 4th September 1976. Very interesting. I'm enjoying every can of Thatcher's Blood Orange cider. Very sweet, very nice, lovely stuff, White Sapphire. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. Chipmunk has several megas. I have 2. Now I have 3. I have 2 windy handle ones, a pre-war one, which is very old, single range, with a slip clutch in it. Then I have another one from the 50s with a windy handle in it. And then I have an electronic one with a button you push, which I don't know where it's living now, but in there somewhere. Yes, handy machines. George Christophe has a whole pile of flukes too. His favourite though is the 87 Mark V EX intrinsic set. Now tell me this, George, why do you prefer that over, say, an ordinary Mark V? I don't say it's just because it's red instead of yellow. Is it? Because I believe they're covered in gunk on the inside, so you can't repair them if they go wrong. Uh, Vindaloo, absolutely, yeah. Now, there is something about Indian restaurants in Britain. We have Indian restaurants here in Ireland, but they're not the same, are they, Roundy? Chipmunk says he has a problem. He probably has. Nah, sure, look, batteries are fun. My first multimeter was an Eagle. Got it around 76 and still have a good man audio well. In Scotland during the summer, we had pinches cider with a drop of Germans and apple whiskey on top. Quite dear at Edinburgh prices. Sounds other things to be concerned about rather than the price. That sounds dangerous, Mr. Mooney. Why would I want to work on it? It shouldn't break. Yeah, well, you'd hope not. You know the way they suffer from that problem with the input jacks. Uh, um, uh, Here's the question: does any multimeter lose its calibration when the batteries go flat? Shouldn't do. No. I think I still have 4 flag batteries. Or 1.5 used for local battery telephones. I still have old telephones with magnetos. Yes, good man, Mr. Brackley. Made in Japan on the back of that analog meter. Do you want it, JJ? Seems a waste stuck in my drawer. I'll be honest with you, Tommy. If it's not taking up space in your drawer, leave it where it is because I have meters coming out of me hole. I'm not short of multimeters. Thanks all the same. Um, won't be long before the PSTN gets switched off in the UK. BT are saying by 2025. The flag sales designation came from ever the Second World War. They put a flag on them because they were needed by the army. Oh, I always thought they were called flag cells because they were put in the little enumerators in large houses to call the servants a little flag. They first used to be in the kitchen to operate the little flag up and down. That's why I call. That's why I thought they were called flag cells, but obviously maybe not now. The batteries I bought last than a year ago, still with 6 years on the expiry date, already leaking and dead on arrival. Yeah. Now alkalines. I've gotten back over the zinc carbons. Maybe it was chipmunk. I still think the rotary phone here. Oh, the Jordan cells are just muck, yeah. And for many years they've been putting it down to people pirating and making fake Jordan cells, but that's obviously not the case. Every Jordan cell you come across is leaking. Only took one out of a Grundig remote there today. Not that remote, another one, but similar. That was leaking all over the place too, and still in date. But just shit. They really are. No, that's what I say. I've gone back to zinc carbons. I'd rather buy a large packet of zinc carbons like that from Poundland for €2. And when you think about the amp hour rating of all of these together compared to 5 alkalines or 4 alkalines or whatever they're giving you now, probably still quids in. But these don't leak. They're not great, but they don't leak. So, I mean, I'm only testing pocket radios with them and stuff, so they're good enough. I've two on the wireless microphone tonight, and they'll probably last a couple of nights, which is good enough. Right, lads, it's 11 o'clock, and I'm going to pull the plug. It has been an interesting live stream. I have enjoyed it. It's gone on for quite a while. I think I'm here since 8 o'clock. It's 4 hours. So it was good. I'm going in to get something to eat and go to bed. Get up early in the morning, go to work again. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I also want to thank the people who donated into the live stream, which is very much appreciated. That means a big deal. And even a little small donation makes the live stream, a break even, which is welcomed, to say the least. So thank you all very much. And we'll catch you again in the near future. These are all legends, every one of you. And it's all very much appreciated that you watch my channel and enjoy my videos. And we'll talk to you soon. Killsop Blackley, I will ring you tomorrow. And that's it. All right. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll catch you in the next one. And see you soon.